Well, welcome to this episode of the Book Fix podcast, where we fix lives one book at a time. I'm your host, Cheli.
And I'm your host, Yajaira. There's a topic, Cheli, that you've been ignoring.
What?
And I thought it was on purpose. So if you listen to our last episode of 2022, we brought up a question. Well, I brought up a question that we were supposed to talk about, a week ago? We didn't. Cheli.
Because I thought, okay.
No, it's okay, Cheli.
No,
it's okay.
No.
No. Let me ask you, Cheli.
What?
Do you think if someone DNF'd a book, they have a right to rate it?
I think it depends on where you DNF'd it. Because if someone read the first 10 pages and is like giving me paragraphs and paragraphs of why they hate it, doesn't really seem like a valid argument because you didn't sit through most of the book. If you read like 80% of the book, I think that's like I'm more willing to read and
what you have to say.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean though? Because you have to know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not to toot our horns, but at least the books that we dislike, we actually read the whole way through.
Ooh! Oh my God, that is so true. I mean, trust me, some of them, even though I really didn't want to finish some of those books, a fuerzas, I did it. And that means by force. And I just want to say that I feel like I agree with you. It has to be a significant amount that you've read in order for you to be able to review it. But rating it is a different story to me. I feel like, I don't know, I'm conflicted. I feel like you shouldn't rate it though if you haven't read the whole thing. Because what if the conclusion is just so, what if it's a twist at the end?
You know what's funny? My brother, I told him that I was reading a manga and I got like 6 volumes in and I didn't finish it. But every time I rated a volume, I would also leave a review for that volume. Yeah. And my reviews were pretty low, or my ratings were low, and the reviews were very like detailed on why I didn't like that volume. And he got mad at me because he's like, you don't have a right to talk about it if you didn't finish it. And I'm like, no, but I finished that book. Like I didn't finish the whole thing, but I finished the book that I'm talking about. But he's like, no, you have to finish it and then you can talk about why you didn't like it.
That doesn't make any sense though, because if you think about it, not to bring back, why do we always talk about The Cruel Prince? When we did The Cruel Prince, it's not like we're going to read all 3 books and then come back to the first one and be like, okay, yeah, it was annoying, but I get why this happened. That doesn't make any sense. We have to go through the journey book by book or volume by volume. Whatever. Exactly.
Because like, even if we didn't like a first book of something, who's to say we will dislike the other one? Like, what if we do like it? It's a different book. Has the same characters, but it can probably, I don't know, maybe it did better.
Yeah. I mean, what if the story turns into a whole different genre? You wouldn't know.
Yeah. More Cardin, more tail.
Less tail, more Cardin.
No, wait. More tail, less Cardin. Yes.
No, I disagree. Less tail. I forget he has a tail. Anyway, enough about Cardin. I feel like I would trust a review more if you read more than 80%. I want to say at least 90. At least 90.
Okay. I respect that because I kind of think the same way.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Finally, after a week of waiting, that was my response.
After a whole week. Wow. A little anticlimactic, but...
Well, I'm excited for our conversation today because remember Tuesday? It was such a long time ago. 7 whole days.
A whole week ago, yeah.
We read The Bridge Kingdom.
By Danielle L. Jensen.
Yes. When we read that, you and I were shook. Like, it changed our entire lives. Be honest, have you been sick since then?
You know what? I thought it was weird because I was sick then, but then I was cured. So coincidence?
I think so. Not. Dude, that book changed our fucking lives.
No, yeah, my third eye wide open.
Yeah, and it's funny because it was our first 5-star of the new year. And it was still the first week of the year.
I think I finished this book on the 2nd day of January, which is crazy. It was
Oh
really
my
good
gosh.
though. Please go read it.
So that being said, today we are going to be talking about the second book in that series, The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen.
Yeah, so I think the best way for us to go through this journey together, us being Cheli and I and the listener, if you go listen to the first part, because I don't really want us to, mention things that we've already talked about. I'll give a quick summary of this book, and it won't have too many spoilers. So if you are interested in reading it, I would say go read it and then come back to these episodes.
Yeah, and to let you know, this book starts off immediately where the first one ends. So it'll make more sense if you listen to our first episode.
So in The Traitor Queen, RN has been taken captive by King Silas, and Laura will do anything to get her husband back. Unfortunately for her, since she did kind of betray everyone, no one really trusts her. But that's not going to stop her. The end.
I love that. It's very to the point, but that's kind of this entire book. There's one
Everyone
goal, which
fucking hates her.
Dude, it's so funny though, because she's just like, love you guys. It's a Kanya forever. And they're like, go fucking leave.
Yeah, they're like, bitch, go fucking choke. And that's why she's known as the Traitor Queen, because she literally betrayed her kingdom now because she married into it. It's a little sad, honestly. So we would recommend this story if you like arranged marriages, enemies to lovers.
Forced proximity.
Yeah, forced proximity. I think that kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, if you like fantasy, I would definitely recommend this one too. Are we doing the best part of our episodes? Are we gonna guess?
Oh,
or should we not guess?
No, I think we should guess. If you've never watched our episodes before, we don't tell each other how we feel about this book, but any of the books. But we are going to guess what the other person feels, because I feel like we know each other pretty well. We usually get this spot on 100% every single time.
No, we don't.
Well, I do want to say, I know you. I've known you. It's been like, what, now 12 years almost?
12?
Yeah.
12?
Isn't it 12 already?
It's going to be 11. Well, this is awkward.
Oh my God. Okay, this is a little awkward. Thought I knew you the year before. Apparently just ignored me that year. Okay, but we've known each other for a very long time. And I know that you read this book extremely fast. And
okay. You know what? I'm going to hold that to myself.
No. Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
That being said, you told me that you actually had the first book in your TBR. So I do think that because you love the first one so much, I do think that you like this one. But I'm not sure if you liked this one more than the first one. Because the first one was more so aimed towards, I guess, them falling in love with each other in a way, and a lot more of a slow burn. And this one felt very politically geared with what was going on in their kingdoms. So I'm gonna say you did like it, but didn't love it, and you would give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay, that's fair. The reason why I was like, Cheli, you literally stayed up till 4 a.m. reading the second book. And it's so funny because I was at work and I forgot why, but I went on my Goodreads, or was it Storygraph? I think it might have been Goodreads, because I think I wanted to like see something. I forgot what, but then I see Cheli finished The Traitor Queen, and it said like 4 hours ago. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what do you mean she just finished it? It was like 4 a.m, if my math is correct.
Well, I'm not working right now, so.
Okay, but I know
you. I had time.
All right, sure. Let's go with that. Anyway, I think that overall, I don't know how you feel about the political aspect, because I know you don't normally love that, but I think that overall you did enjoy the story. I think you liked the the journey. I think you liked the ending.
Mm.
I don't know if you loved everything that our girl Laura had to suffer, to atone for her sins, but I do think that you overall enjoyed it. I don't think you loved it more than the first one, though. So I'm going to say you gave it a 4.5. 4.75, because you can do that on Storygraph.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before I read the second one, I did reach out to one of my friends. I don't think you know her, but I reached out to one of my friends because she was like, oh, I'm trying to look for something to read. And I know that you read books. Can you recommend me a book? And I was like, oh, well, I recently read Bridge Kingdom, and I kind of explained it to her. And she was like, okay, I bought all of the books. And I'm like, wait, I haven't even read the second one.
Did she finish them?
She just bought them the day before I read it, and I haven't talked to her since then. So I'm kind of worried that I was like, did I recommend a series to her having not read anything else except for the first one? And I felt super bad.
Did you?
So if you're out there listening to this, sorry. Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe she liked it, but it literally threw me off because I was like, oh my God, that's so much fucking money.
No, seriously. But honestly, that's on her because she could have done more research. Maybe she did research more of the books and then she thought, wow, I love the idea of them. So then she bought them.
And, maybe she did listen to our first Bridge Kingdom episode and this episode. So
right now, she's here with us, actually.
Yeah, she is. She's on Amazon like, I don't regret. But why don't we go ahead and start off where the first one ended, which was with our main girl, Lara, who was in Herondale. And she basically heard the news that her husband
was taken. He was taken by her father, King Silas. And so he's being held. Where is he being held? Vencia?
Yeah, he's in Vencia in this one prison.
That's a castle, but it's impossible to get out of. Like, impossible. And so because she knows her father so well, and, he trained her pretty much to be a warrior, she's like, okay, you know what? No one else is going to know his tricks but me. And also my sisters, who were also trained to be warriors. So let me go find them.
She finds them and they basically have a conversation where it's like, see, I know you were trying to save us, Lara, but you can't fucking leave us to die. And think for a second that the first thing I do when I wake up in a bunch of flames is reach into my pocket to read a note. Which, I mean, I kind of agree with.
I agree with too, because I don't know. In the first book, I didn't really think about like what her sisters went through, but it is very traumatic for them to wake up in literally a pile of bodies and then being like, oh my God, where's the other one? Because they're all taking account who's there. And one of them is missing. So they're like, oh my God, where the fuck is Laura? So of course they're like digging through the fucking corpses. And then later on, that's when one of them reaches into her pocket and she finds a note that Laura wrote for her or for them.
And they were incredibly angry because you do have to realize, too, that this was before any of them knew that Ithaca wasn't a bad place. And they all just thought that Lara did this so that she had the opportunity to go.
Yeah. And I think it was Serena who was like, why didn't you just talk to us about it? You could have just said, hey, here's my plan. But then Laura is like, we never agreed on anything. We would have been fighting about it. And if we would have fought about it, it wouldn't have gotten resolved because when Laura found out that her dad had plans to kill the ones who he didn't pick, so everybody else, she only had like a day, I think, to plan. And then that's when she was like, okay, I got to fake my sister's deaths.
Oh, God.
Serena is like hella pregnant.
Oh, yeah. So when she finds them, she does crash into Serena first. And she's watching her from a distance and realizes that she's with a guy and she's pregnant. And it hits her at that moment like, oh my God, it's been a year.
Yeah, like so much can happen. And then she can literally just walk in and ruin their lives again. So she actually sees her from afar and she's going to like, leave her. But that's when two of her sisters kind of like ambush her and they're like, "Oh, it's been so long, Laura."
Yeah.
So pretty much, yeah, she recruits her sisters back.
Oh, but this story jumps back and forth. So while she is over here recruiting her sisters to help Aaron, Aaron is in a prison, basically, in a jail cell. Mm-hmm. And I was a little confused at this point, so maybe you can like illuminate me. He was in Vencia, but the king and the magpie, would they visit him often?
I think they remained there. Like that's where they were also. Because this is a castle, or his castle, but it's also a prison at the same time. Okay. So they were there and they were pretty much torturing RN because they were trying to figure out a way to infiltrate the Arenhall?
Yes.
Which is like where his people are. And they were trying to find like the way to get in because they couldn't do it because I think it's like surrounded by the treacherous waters, and he's not giving any information to them, and so it's really sad because the dad is starting to taunt him. Dad, I mean King Silas, so Laura's dad.
Yeah,
and he tells her like, "Oh well, I know Laura. I know that she wouldn't have failed me, which means that she betrayed me, which means I'm going to have to kill her because I told her." Fuck around, find out. She's going to find out.
The first thing that he says to Aaron is, "Oh, where is she?" And that's where Aaron gets kind of thrown off because it's like, she literally betrayed me. How the fuck would I know where she's at? Mm-hmm. And that's when...
He had expected her to like run to her dad, but she didn't.
Mm-hmm. And that's when King Silas says, it leads him to believe that Aaron is something that she valued greater than anything. So she would be okay with being in danger if it meant protecting Aaron. And I'm going to keep saying Aaron and Aaron. I'm so sorry. But
I'll probably do the same.
Okay. But yeah, at the beginning of the story, he's basically being tortured by having people first who look like Lara with bags over their face be tortured in front of him.
Yeah, it only really happened that one time because the dad didn't really believe him when he told him, "Oh, I don't even care about her. Kill her. You know what? I'll give you the knife. Like, I don't care." And so they staged it like where they had a girl who looked like Laura, but they had a bag over her so you couldn't see her face, and they were torturing her and they made him believe like, "Oh my God, this is Laura." And that's when he accidentally reveals like, okay, maybe he does kind of care a little bit.
Yeah.
And then that's when the magpie is like, "See, I knew it. But it's really sad because then he continues to torture people, and we find out that these people are actually his people, like from Arenhall. And so they're trying to get into the castle to get him out, but they keep failing.
Mm-hmm. You know, honestly, this entire first section where he is basically coming to terms if he still loves her or not, I guess, I kind of hated how the magpie and King Silas were like low-key like kind of pushing him towards admitting his feelings, because it's like, damn, I know I'm being tortured, but are you like my therapist also? Because it felt so weird to me that it was like, how dare you believe she didn't care about you? And it's like, hello, why are you supporting my love? Like,
I know it wasn't that oh shit, wait, it wasn't the magpie who said that. It was the girl, what was her name? One of King Silas's mistresses. I think Corlin was the one who was like, "How dare you not believe her?" Because they know her.
But it was everyone. It was literally, because even when Silas was there, he was just like, I know her so much, and I know that she's in love with you. And it's like, why are you validating him? Why don't you make him feel like he's alone if you're trying to torture him?
I think they were trying to push him to admit his feelings so that when they did capture Laura and, in their mind, that would be what caused him to finally like tell them how to infiltrate Aaron Hall. I think that's what they were hoping for. But yeah,
I mean, I get it.
It was a little weird.
It just felt like they were trying to get a rise out of him for nothing. Because even after,
I mean, they were bored.
I know, I get it. But you could have maybe, I don't know, had small talk with him.
About what?
I don't know.
What is there to talk about?
It just felt so weird that he literally was getting tortured by all these people while also like realizing his feelings. I just wish that they would have done it differently.
I feel like in the beginning he was very anti-Laura. He was still very convinced that she had betrayed him with no remorse, even though she wasn't with her dad. He wouldn't allow himself to think that she actually did fall in love with him, which was really sad because this is dual perspective, so we get his emotions as well, you know? So it was just sad when he was like, oh, she didn't even care about me, or she was just using me, and it's just like, damn.
I guess. But we go back to the sisters and Lara, and they basically all have a moment where they're like, okay, you went to Ithacania, you did all this shit, and right now our beautiful dad is gonna go basically fuck shit up, and also they stole your husband. And she's like, yep. And it's like, okay, and you fell in love with him, and you want to undo the damage that you've done, and father found out, something like that. Am I getting it, Lara? And it's like, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah,
like,
so true, so true, Queen. It's like you read this story or something. I'm not sure. Did you read the first book? Damn.
Yeah, and then the sister's even like, and you came to find us, and you want us to fuck shit up alongside you. And she's like, yep. And they're like, okay, bitch, down. And it's like,
yeah,
that's literally the end of one of the chapters. And I'm like, oh my God, she just summarized the story better than we did.
What were your thoughts of the sisters?
I don't really remember them. The one I liked was the one that started with the letter B. Browen?
Bronin?
I think.
I was like Bronin.
She was my favorite one because she was the most outspoken. Plus Serena, but we didn't really get to see much of her since she wasn't allowed to fight.
Yeah. No, yeah, I like the sisters. I feel like we should have gotten more characterization for some of them, but it's fine, I guess. No big deal.
I kind of wish that the sisters, because you know how in the first book they had brought up that they were tested in a bunch of different specialties.
Yeah.
I wish that this entire story, there would have been like a different sister that like used their specialty to help them. Like that's what I wanted, so that throughout the entire story we can see all of the sisters help. Because it was really only the beginning.
I feel like they tried to do that with one sister when she first arrived. I think it was Athena. And the way that she arrived was very like stealthy. Like she just showed up out of nowhere. But that was like the only time that happened. So I agree with you. I wish there would have been more, I don't know, like visualization of what these girls were raised to do. Because I don't even think they were there at the end, huh? Oh, no, they weren't.
Not
they should have
really,
been there.
Though. Yeah, they
no, like at the end.
Oh, well, the last time they were there, like as like an entire unit, was when they went to go save Aaron.
Oh, and yeah. I wish they were there the whole time.
Dude, that entire save sequence, oh my God, I fucking love that part.
Really?
Yeah, because basically, Aaron ends up having like, I guess like a little friendship with this lady named Coraline, who is one of the wives of Silas, but she's like not the favored wife, you know?
She's the least favorite, and he has like 50, so.
Yeah, so that's saying something if you're the least favorite.
I know, seriously.
But Aaron realizes that, you know, all of these wives hate King Silas as much as anyone else does because they're basically giving their children up. And so he decides to use her in order to contact his people and let his people know that he doesn't want people trying to save him anymore because he can't handle seeing another Ithacanian in front of him die.
Yeah, so he pretty much gives her a location where his people would meet up, and he gave her like a secret code or something. I'm not really sure what he told her, but it wasn't necessarily through her. It was through her, you know, She helped a lot. But it was also through Karis, which is Laura's brother. That's how he figured out, like, oh, these wives don't even like King Silas. So let me find a way to get close to them.
Did you trust Karis?
Yeah, I trusted him with my life, honestly. I was like, this guy right here, he's tired. I felt bad for him because he wasn't really raised to be a king. And so he was kind of like left to do whatever he wanted until the king didn't have an heir anymore. So now he was forced to kind of take on a more important role. So I could tell with his conversations with Aaron that he just was like, damn, now the expectations have changed for me. But still, he didn't really love his dad like Laura.
Oh, you know what fucks me up too? Karis is actually like biologically 100% related to Laura. Yeah. And in the first book, Laura had brought up that she doesn't know if her mom was dead or alive. But through Karis in this book, we figured out that Laura's mom died trying to get Laura back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I thought that part was so fucking sad. I felt so bad for her.
I know. But we get to the situation where King Silas is having a dinner, and he's having it with all of the main people of all of the neighboring kingdoms. Mm-hmm. And he's using that moment to kind of gloat like, oh, look, Ithacanyan king. Actually, never mind. Don't call him that. Just call him Aaron. He's over here having dinner with us.
He's a fucking loser. Because he's also chained up. So.
Mm-hmm. And they're all asking, I think Silas asks him, like, oh, do you want little chains? Are they too much? Like, I can accommodate
heavy? That. Please tell me, are you not comfy? I can totally switch him up for you if you want me to. This whole scene was pretty much just for him to gloat because his people were winning over Ithacania. But
you can tell that some of the people who were there were not for King Silas. They were so angry.
Yeah. Because they knew that with King Silas, the trade wouldn't be fair and it wouldn't be equal. So it was just going to fuck up their system.
Mm-hmm. So they are having this dinner, and Aaron is sitting in the back with Coraline. And while they're having like a conversation, there is a bunch of girls that come in who are dressed in very like provocative outfits. Yeah. And they just start dancing because they're supposed to be entertainment.
Yeah, but this was set up by Coraline because she had told the king like, oh, I have this very special dance ready for you, and it was already planned, so it wasn't like a surprise. It wasn't like they just busted in and started dancing.
Yeah. But they did come in, and while they were dancing, King Silas was like not fucking paying attention at all. But Aaron noticed that one of them was Lara. She had her face covered. She was dancing around, and he's like, "Oh my god, that's my wife." Well, he didn't say wife yet because he's been going through it, but he's like,
I know, but still,
that's kind of my girl.
He's like, wait, I know that back. Hold up, that mole right there. I know that.
But they dance in front of the king. It's Lara and a lot of her sisters. Yeah. And when the song ends, instead of leaving, Lara goes up to the king and takes off her mask and is like, "Guess who, bitch?" Right?
No, yeah,
exactly
literally
how it happens.
Yeah. He was like, "Well, what's that fucking meme from American Horror Story?" It's like, "I'm back, bitch. Bet you thought you'd seen the last of me."
That was exactly how it went, actually.
Yeah, verbatim, right?
But they wreak havoc.
I love how the dad is just like, "Laura, bitch." He literally was so shook. But yeah, so they start fucking fighting everyone at this moment.
Yeah, they do. And if I remember correctly, it's mostly Lara and the sisters fighting, and this is the first time Aaron has ever seen Lara fight. Yeah. And he's shook.
Because he's seen like the like the aftermath, because he's seen like when she's already like killed them, so they're like like dead already, but he's never actually seen it in action, and he's like, what the, oh my god, who's your trainer?
And so while they're escaping, one of the things that Karis had told Aaron is, you know, I will help you, I guess, but you need to get this girl off kingdom territory, which I don't remember her name.
Zara.
Which she is one of the princess from that one kingdom that starts with an A.
Not a pop quiz. It's one of the kingdoms.
Yeah, but it was one of the kingdoms that Ithacanya had recently been super close to before the marriage. But
it's Amarid.
Yes, there we go.
Amarid.
That was the place they used to be close to, but in the first one, the ties were severed because anyway,
stuff happens. Mm-hmm.
So she is saved, and all of the sisters and Aaron are escaping. And I really like this moment because I know that he's supposed to be weak.
Mm-hmm. He's weakened because he's been tortured for how long now?
And he doesn't really have space to move, so his muscles aren't what they used to be. Mm-hmm. But I really like that when they're escaping, they get on a horse and they're like, oh, we have to go all the way over here. And Aaron's never been on a horse. Is that what
I
it
thought
is?
That was so funny. No, he's never been on a horse. He's a seaman, not a horseman. So when he was on the horse, it was so fucking awkward. It was hilarious though, TBH. Because Laura was over here kicking ass, like fucking twirling all over the horse, and he couldn't even like hold on to the reins.
Oh my god. I love that because it felt like the way that both of them were out of their elements. It's reversed now. So seeing Aaron struggling.
And she even said it too. She was like, oh my god, you know, I don't mean to take pride in this, but it feels good to see that he's finally not good at something.
Yep. Oh my god. But he was so angry this whole time because
she reached out to him and he was like, don't touch me. It was like, oh, damn. Okay.
And she even made a comment like, oh, you know, we have to go because our people are waiting for us. And he's like, our people?
Our people?
Hello?
The people that you betrayed? Those people? She was like, okay, semantics, damn, I'm sorry.
Shut up, Laura. Suddenly these pieces aren't fitting. It's like anything he said or anything she said, he would have like
a rebuttal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he tried holding himself back because he was like, okay, we are escaping. We need to escape.
I feel like in the beginning, like when they first finally saw each other, it just like exploded out of him. Because even he was like, I know it was the wrong place, wrong time, but I couldn't hold back. I had to let something out because, you know, he had been in prison for a while. So
yeah, it made me sad too because she had her hopes a little bit higher. She was like, I hope that when he sees me,
he's gonna be like, babe, wife, babe.
Wait, he's mad at me?
Wait, I thought that was a joke. I know you said that if you ever saw me again, you would kill me, but I thought it was a joke.
Babe,
hubby.
It was April 1st when you told me that, babe. You can't just...
This is fantasy. That doesn't even apply.
Like ye old April Fools.
I fucking hate it.
But it's really cute too because while they're escaping, there are moments that they get separated for a bit, and even though they're supposed to be like hating each other, like Lara will be like somewhere else, like behind a cliff or behind a horizon, and he's like, whatever, fuck that bitch, but he's looking like, where the fuck is she? Like, why isn't she here yet? It's funny because it'll be like, Sister 3, go look for Lara. It's not like I care or anything, but maybe go look for her because we need her.
I'm getting worried a little bit. I fucking love when they finally reached like a safe point and Laura is injured and she's hurt and whatever. Serena says something to the prince. Oh my god,
I have that highlighted. That's what I was going to talk about.
Serena says something to Aaron. I forgot what he says or what she says, but she immediately turns hostile. She's like, I don't give a fuck about your kingdom. I don't care about anything. If you try to hurt my sister, I will fucking end you. And he was like, well, damn. I mean, I do fucking hate her though, but she did betray me.
Okay, I want to talk about that a little more too, because what she had said was basically like, hey, you know, she loves you and we love her. Never mind that we owe her our lives. Like she would do anything for you. And it's like, really? Because for someone who saw how great Itakanya was, she didn't really have a problem stabbing me in the back. And that's where Serena just basically turns and is like, fuck you, bitch. Do you know what it was like growing up with this poison? Like, even to this day, when I wake up knowing that he was wrong, there are some days where I do think Itakanya is still trash. And it's not because it is. It's because that's what we were raised to feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So fucking powerful. I love Serena.
Yeah, no, I really like that moment too. And she literally had a blade against his neck. Like, she was like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. Oh, she was like, we didn't want to rescue your ass. We did it because she wanted it. Like, she made it happen.
Yes. And while this conversation is happening, Lara comes up and is like, hey, Anna, your sister, she's on her way to Arendelle, not Frozen. Hello? to Harendelle.
Harendelle? Oh my god, I get it. She's a Frozen fan.
You're right. She's on her way over there to fulfill her half of the 15-year treaty. Mm-hmm. And Aren is like getting ready to be mad. And it's like, no, shut up. We gotta go to the Empress of Valkota to basically mend our alliances. And I'm going with you as your wife. And they both set off on a journey.
But he was angry with Laura, too, when he realized that his sister was going to fulfill her end of the treaty, so she's going to go get married. And he was like, oh, so you sold off my sister. Great. Because he didn't want Anna to get married just because of that treaty. He wanted her to, find love. Because he didn't have that choice.
Oh, my gosh. But, I mean, Anna was doing this in order to have more, like, what's the word? More alliances, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because they need as much help as they can get now that Maridrina has, like, the upper hand.
High key, I, am really disappointed that we didn't get to see more of Anna in this book.
Oh, because she has her own book.
She does?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Or she will. I'm not sure if it's already out.
Okay, that's good to know, because it kind of made me sad that she was just gone. And I'm like, well, I want to see her too. Eren and Lara are going by horse, I think, to Valkota. And it's like really awkwardly quiet. Because, I mean, what are they supposed to say to each other?
What are they supposed to talk about? Like, hey, yeah, I've also been tortured by my dad. It's the worst, right? Like, what are they supposed to talk about?
But they have two meaningful conversations. And the first one being, while they're talking about Karis, Eren does mention that, hey, he brought up your mom, by the way. You both had the same mom. Mm-hmm. And at first, she asks, do you know if she's alive or not? And he, even though they're like supposed to be hating each other, he kind of knew, like, I shouldn't drop that on her. Like, I shouldn't mention that to her.
He didn't even want to tell her. It was so sad. He was like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I think he was trying to like brush it off, but she kept insisting, like, what? I have a right to know if my mom's alive or not. So he does end up telling her the truth. Yeah.
Because it's cute, or I guess kind of bittersweet, because when he does say that it's better off you don't know, she gets mad and is like, don't be petty, withholding this just to piss me off. That's a low blow. And it's like, no, that's literally not why I'm doing this. Like,
that's not what I'm doing it, but I mean, also, no, but he was feeling a little petty for like a second, but then when he realized that she was, feeling sad, and I think she was already almost crying, he was like, oh, yeah, never mind.
Yeah. And while they're having like this moment of like vulnerability, he takes this moment to ask, how and when did you write the plan to infiltrate Ithacanya on that letter that I sent to your dad? And she like looks at him and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. never mind. Take it back.
He's like, literally forget I asked, because it doesn't matter. Like, the betrayal already happened. And she's trying to explain herself. Like, no, like, this was before we had that conversation of, when they came clean to each other. Like, she was trying to explain it to him, but he was just like, I don't want to hear it.
It's so funny too, because he's like, no. And he's trying to get his horse to move, but it's standing still. And he's like, fucking move.
I know. He's so bad with these animals.
Yeah, but even though she's saying like, I did it, but I didn't mean to do it. It's like, yeah, Laura, even if you didn't mean to do it, it still fucking happened.
Mm-hmm.
Which, so sad, because
I think it's really sad seeing how hopeful she was. Like, she was expecting him to still be angry, but there was also a moment where she had with her sisters, Serena, and she just breaks down into tears, and she's just like, I thought I didn't think he would hate me like this much, like, still, after everything that she saved him, she got him out of the prison. But I like what Serena tells her. I like that she tells her, this hurts, but you can't change how he feels. Like, if he never forgives you, you're just gonna have to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this like all of this tension that was happening, I felt like I was pleasantly surprised, because I didn't think that it was going to be this much tension. I was expecting tension, but not this much. Like, literally, it went into like 80% of the book.
Yeah, dude. And also, during that talk that they have, he does mention like, oh, loving you was a mistake because Ithacanya ended up falling because of me. And if you think it'll rise again under my rule, you're sorely mistaken. And that's where she realizes too, it's like, yeah, he's angry at me, but he's more angry at the fact that he trusted me. And because of that trust, it's his fault that Ithacanya fell.
Yeah, that's so sad. Yeah, because he realizes like, well, I mean, yes, it's her fault, she did betray me, but I also let her in on the secret. So he does blame her, but he mainly blames himself, which is why loving her is almost like not even in his thoughts. Like, he's just like, no, I can't, because that's a betrayal to his people after what she did to them.
So they are getting tracked. I don't know. I can't think of the word. Followed.
Tracked. They're being stalked.
Thank you. By King Silas's men. And they try, like, I guess, escaping them, and they're traveling for days on horses.
The people that are stalking them set them off course, and so they end up going a different direction, which leads them to the Red Desert. I felt so bad for them during that.
Yeah, because they are dehydrated. They haven't slept in like 4 days, and they have to walk through this desert.
And there's like a sandstorm happening, so the sand is getting in their eyes, and it's just like really, really bad for them. Mainly Aaron, because he hasn't even had time to recover after being in prison. So Laura takes it upon herself. She's like, okay, I'm going to cover his face. I'm going to cover as much as she can. And then she'll be the one who's like leading him. And there's a moment when he does end up like passing out. And so she has to like kind of drag him towards, there's like this place there where they trained her when she was smaller. And that's where she ends up dragging him to.
So while they're in this little safe haven, the place where Lara grew up, they both, well, first of all, Lara brings fucking Arim back to life.
No,
basically.
Literally. He was about to fucking die. He was about to die, and poor girl, like, she had to go find water for him. So she was like fucking climbing up. I feel so bad for her, because this whole time he's still like salty towards her, but she's like saving his life again. And
it's so sad because, they're here. She can barely see because her eyes are so swollen from the sand that got in there. And he's incredibly exhausted and dehydrated.
Yeah.
And he decides at this moment to ask her, like, or I think this was after them being in there for like a day or two. So they're both still in bad shape. But he asks her, you told me that anyone that knows your dad's plots, he kills them. Did you ever help with this? And she was like, nah, but I didn't do anything to save them, which is basically also like helping. But he talks about how when he was being tortured, he had heard the story that Lara had to come up with saving her sisters in like a very short amount of time. And she's like, why would my dad tell you this? Like, there's no point. And he's like, I don't know. But it was like, you know, to show that he still cared about her.
I mean, he did also rinse out her eyes because she couldn't see. They were swollen shut. And I thought that was really sweet because even though he was angry, he still made sure to like boil the water, wait till it cools down, like lightly clean her eyes so that she can finally open them again.
And it was sad because like while he was doing all this, it was explaining like how bad her face looked, but how he still thought that she looked really beautiful. And he started thinking to himself, like, if it had been any of the other sisters that went instead of her, would he had fallen in love with them and made the same mistakes? And he's like, well, maybe, but I don't think so because there was only one her. Like, there would be no one else.
I know, and it was so sweet. But what I really liked about this moment is when he pulls out that letter that she wrote when she betrayed him, pretty much. And I like the description of, you can tell that the page was constantly like folded and unfolded, just like the way that it looked. And while she can't even fucking see, he burns the letter because he's like it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, and she shifts and is like, what's burning? And he says nothing's important and just continues to watch it turn into ash. So this is like the first time that he was able to read it and not feel any anger towards her. Dude, I love them. It made me so sad because I knew this was going to be a fucking slow burn again with the same fucking characters.
Experiencing another time.
I was so sad because I was like, why don't they just
make
fucking
up?
talk? I know. Dude. I get it. You're both like kings and queens, but fuck everyone else.
It's so sad. I also really love them, and I really felt for both of them. But like the slow burn, like the slowness was killing me. I was like, oh my God, is he ever gonna forgive her? At one point I was like, I don't think he's gonna forgive her because the way that all of the other Ithacanians would look at her and treat her and, you know, speak of her, I just knew that, oh my God, if he ends up forgiving her, it's gonna be like this whole thing of him betraying his people because he loves her. And I was like, oh man, the angst is so juicy.
Just to like move ahead a little bit more and continue with that conversation, they end up going into this little town, and it's because of an argument that, first of all, that they have, that Lara wants to kill merchants and steal their stuff so that
because they're starving.
They're starving, and also if they had the resources, then their travels can go a lot quicker. But he's like, no, I'm not fucking killing anyone.
He's like, I'm not a murderer. So they're on a camel and he passes out on the camel. And this is when she's like, okay, you know what? This is my time to escape. And so she goes into this little town and she's like planning on like stealing water and stealing food. And she thinks about like, okay, I have to make a distraction. And her first thought is fire. She's like, okay, fire, burning. That's a good distraction, right? But then she thinks about Aryan and she's like, but then someone can get her and then he's going to be mad at me and he's already mad at me.
Yeah.
And so she decides to like mess with was it horses or camels? She messes with animals and then she gets caught and she gets, what is that thing called? They put her on
the thing where you put your head in your hands through to hold you as a prisoner. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, but she's like locked in and she's labeled as a thief, but she's also naked, which I don't know about you, but imagining like this girl in the middle of the fucking town naked. I was like, dude, this is so uncomfy. Like, this is so uncomfortable. I hated this part. I felt so uncomfortable.
I did too. I'm going to speed through it because I think what matters more is like the end of this part. But Aaron does notice that she left and goes looking for her and finds her in this town. But instead of him like approaching her immediately, he pretends to be someone else completely and is like, hey, this is my camel. This is me. My name's Jack.
I know.
Or John, whatever the fuck.
He makes up this whole like sob story of like, oh my God, I got into this accident. Oh my God, I lost all my money. Like I can't get to my family. And you know, these, I think they were guards. I don't know what the fuck they were, but these guards were like, oh my God, friend, here's some liquor, bro. It's fine. So they become friends kind of. And Laura is being punished by staying out in the hot sun naked. And so she's like burning. The only thing that's really covered is her face because her hair is covering her face. Yeah. But then I think it's just a day, right? Like that night, he goes up to her
and is like, "Hey, they're like planning to fucking kill you. They're like not really happy with you."
Oh my God, no! The way he says it is so funny. He's like, "Man, they're serious about thieves here." They don't play. I thought that was so funny, and she was like, "Yeah, hilarious," because she thought, and it was really sad, like she thought that he was going to end up leaving her there because he was still, you know, angry with her. And these guards were going to provide travel for him. They were like, okay, you know, we'll provide these, or you can come with us somewhere and then we'll drop you off there. And so she was like, oh, he doesn't need me anymore, so he can easily just leave.
But they end up backstabbing Aaron, but it's okay because he was gonna backstab them too. But he kills them, which is like a huge thing because that's what he didn't want to do.
Yeah, exactly. I was shocked by that. I was like, damn, okay.
Dude, he kept the youngest one alive, and I fucking love it because when he leaves, he basically says, like, I hate backstabbers. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go find my fucking wife.
I'm gonna go find my fucking backstabbing ass wife. And the little kid's like,
that was the first time that he, like, called her his wife in, like, a very long time. So,
yeah. I know. But he was still, like, salty, though. Like, he was salty about it.
Yeah. And I mean, when he does get up to her and is helping her out, because she tried knocking herself down so that she can get herself out, but she ended up choking.
Yeah, she was choking. And he was like, yeah, not your most graceful move. And she's like, fuck you.
Yeah, but it's sweet because, or bittersweet because she's like, I was so sure that you were going to leave me. And
oh my God, this moment was so cute. He was like, I wouldn't do that. And then I think they almost kiss, right? Like their lips brush together.
Yeah, their lips do brush here, but it's like super, super quick. And then they like go and try to run and hide, and they end up hiding in like the sacred waters that they're not supposed to be in. There was nowhere else for them to go. And in that moment, Aaron does say like, you know, no matter where you are, I'm always going to come back to you. Like
which is a fucking lie. We'll talk about that later, but okay.
But it was sweet, but it was also kind of sad because she was like, oh, that's basically insinuating that we're not going to be together. Like we're going to be separated and we're not going to end up together. And it's a really sad,
Yeah, it is sad. And I think that she kind of accepted it in this moment too, because eventually she does tell him like, okay, I'm going to leave you here and that's it. That's where we part ways. And she kind of expected him to be like, what? Part ways? But he didn't. He was like, okay.
It's funny because like there are little moments like this in the story where they kind of just let go of all of their inhibitions and they are like all over each other. And he always says like, oh my God, you're always going to be my queen, my queen, my wife, queen of Ithaca. And then like right after he's like, never going to happen. You're never gonna,
you make it sound like they're literally like physically all over each other. It's more just like emotionally because nothing really happens between them.
They have like one kiss, really? before they reach Valvoda.
Mm-hmm.
But they go all the way to I keep forgetting what it's called. They go all the way to Valcoda.
There's a moment when they're supposed to part ways, and I want to hear how you felt about this, because they're supposed to part ways, but then the enemies are closing in, and so Jor and Aren are supposed to get on the boat, fucking leave, but then that means that Laura would be left there, fighting everyone off, and he's like, no, wait, hold on. Then he pulls her in the boat when this was supposed to be the moment when they're like, okay, parted now, no more whatever this is.
I think after their first kiss, I was already like, okay, they're gonna separate, and this is probably gonna carry on into the third book in 3.5. Yeah. I did not think that they were at all going to even remotely end up with each other, like in any way, even if it was just like a long distance. I was so sure that they were gonna separate, and when they reached that point, what I thought was going to happen was she was going to go back and fight King Silas while he was going to go to Ithaca.
Well, that was what she wanted. That was like her plan. She was like, I'm going to go kick some ass. And he even tells her, you have to promise me you're not going to go try to kill your dad. And she was like, yeah, no, I can't promise that because it's exactly what I'm going to go do.
At least she was honest.
I fucking love that, though, that she was like, I can't promise you that. Sorry. But so then she ends up going with it, which, okay, they were gonna part here because when he gets on that boat, that's when they go to Ithaca, which, bro, I was sweating. I was like, oh my god, everyone's gonna stone her. Like, of course they're rightfully angry with her after what happened.
Yeah. And before that, they had gone to Valcoda and they were going to make a truce, but one of the things was in order to show that you are loyal to this kingdom, Aren, you have to like kill your wife because that's how we know you're a real one. And he's like, nah.
he was just like,
can't help
no.
you there. And it's funny because he can't do this, but then when he goes to Ithaca and they ask him like, how do you feel about your wife? Do you still consider her queen? Do you still love her? He's just like, wife? Nope.
He kept saying no, so he said no, that she wasn't his wife anymore. That was so fucking sad because I bet Laura was like, well, fuck, what am I gonna do with this wedding ring then?
What am I gonna do with your mom's necklace? I mean, my necklace.
She didn't even have it with her.
I don't know. Maybe she had it in her pocket.
So true. Just throw it out to see. She'll find it.
And it sucks too because she's hearing all of this, but she's just like, okay, I can't let it show that it affects me because this is his like home. He's the king. This is his people. I can't just take him away from this. So they go to fucking fight this war.
Wait, I have to bring something up because we brought it up in the last one. Taryn's alive. Oh my god. Oh, yeah. When she showed up again, I was like, what the fuck? I thought you died, bitch. I thought we lost you. I already mourned you. I already cried for you. And then it's so sad because when Laura sees her, she immediately like saves her or like helps her. And Taryn just like looks at her in disgust. She's just like,
didn't occur
literally
to
me. Everyone looks at her that way. And it's really sad because everyone wants her dead.
It didn't occur to me that Taryn would hate her. But I guess she would because the betrayal had already happened by that point.
It's really sad because I think to help her guilt, she starts listening to everyone's stories of what happened after her betrayal. So people start telling her like, oh, I lost this person. Oh, I lost that person. I was separated from this person. And she starts hearing everyone and there's nothing she can say, but like she starts taking it in. And I think that's kind of like fueling her. Like it's kind of like giving her more incentive to like go find her dad and eventually kill him. But I just thought that was really, really sad, especially with Taryn being so mad at her. But yeah, I think that makes sense. Because if she wasn't mad at her, then I would be like, fake. No, like it affected all of them.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to speed through this because a lot happens during this fight. But there's a point where she gets hurt and
really badly.
They're like winning the battles. But instead of asking for help from the Ithacanians, she ends up going to the Nana's house to like heal herself.
She's stitching herself. This part was really sad because she knew that nobody would want to help her anyway. Like, everyone hated her. So she was like, let me just remove myself from this situation. So she goes and starts stitching herself. And with RN, he realizes that he doesn't see her anywhere. And so he goes and finds her and then helps her.
Yeah, and it's really sad because they know that they're not supposed to be together. But he's over here saying shit like, all I hear is your voice. All I feel is you in my arms. Awake or asleep. All I see is you and all I want is you. And it's like, shut the fuck up, Aaron. Like, we're trying to like not be in love. And you're doing this shit. And he helps stitch her up. And it's funny because she's fucking hurt, but they still have sex.
Bro, they have. That's what I was thinking, because I feel like their sex was like built up, you know, like, so it wasn't like super rough, but it was like a little rough. And I was like, dude, you're gonna open her up, relax.
I know.
But,
oh my god.
Yeah, they couldn't hold it anymore. But I thought it was really sad because she had made him promise to not leave because she was scared that he was gonna leave in the middle of the fucking night. And he was like, no, we're not going to leave tonight. We're leaving tomorrow. Like, obviously. That was the plan. And then when she wakes up, she notices that he's awake. And she's like, oh, like, everything good? He's like, no, like, this was a mistake. And then he leaves.
Were you mad at him?
No, I wasn't. I was like,
me neither.
I get it.
Can I say, though, before they had sex, I highlighted a quote because it's like one of my favorite quotes from the whole book. And it was, you are my goddamn damnation, but there will never be anyone but you.
That was a really good quote. I fucking love that line. I thought, I really loved how I could feel his turmoil. Like, he loved her. And I think at this point he came to terms that he still loved her. But he was like, I can't do that to Kanye because he knew that he had to focus on winning this war, and he couldn't do that with her around. And so that's why he was like, you know what, bitches, we're heading out. And so he ends up leaving her there.
It's so sad. And it's sad because he's in denial, but everyone knows. Like, they can tell.
Jor was like, bro, he was like, I could fucking hear you from all the way across the forest, bitch.
Oh my god. But it's so sad. They do leave her and they have their fight, and it's so anticlimactic of a fight because they win. And it's like, oh.
Okay, yes, I 100% agree. We don't have to talk about all of the details. All I want to say is that her dad shows up, which I was surprised because I was like, okay, maybe he wants to see, you know, the destruction. Okay, cool. But her dad stays on the boat, and he's kind of just like overlooking all the fucking fires burning Aaron Hall, which is like, again, where all of the citizens are. And they fucking Laura sees him and she is hurt, but she's like, oh my god, you know what, I have to kill him. This is it. This is my time to shine. She gets on the boat, and I feel like this moment happened so fast. I really wanted, you know what I wanted? Okay.
What?
Because I don't want to change the moment too much. If he had to be on the boat, okay, cool, whatever. I kind of wanted, first of all, Aaron didn't even see this moment. He didn't even know that she fucking killed her dad. I wanted him to at least like witness this because she nearly died during this fight because, again, she was hurt. I kind of wanted her to have pushed her dad out of the boat because she can't fucking swim. So I kind of wanted it to be more of like, oh my god, like there's sharks in the water, she's bleeding. Maybe she could have like sliced her dad before pushing him down into the water. But I felt like I wanted this moment to feel more like a sacrifice, and it kind of was, but not the way that I wanted it to feel.
Yeah, you know what? I get you, because that fight did just kind of end. And it was assumed that people were watching, but they were kind of far away. Yeah. I like what happened after, though. With her swimming back.
I agree. I really like what happened after because I think it was Leia. Who was it? It was one of the girls who didn't like her, saw her, witnessed everything, and then she went to Aaron and was like, you have to get, you have to open the gate, right? It was a gate.
Yes, but before that, on her way swimming towards the place, I think it was Anna and Taryn who were watching, and a bunch of Ithacanians, and she was swimming to the gate in order to make it to where the fight was going on. And while that was happening, there were hundreds of sharks that were chasing, or not chasing, but in the ocean.
Yeah. Like,
and at that moment, everyone that was watching her was cheering her on to like make it.
Yeah, and they were telling her to really like fight, to like swim. It was really sad because I think she would have given up at this point, but hearing like everyone cheering her on or like, you know, motivating her made her want to survive again.
It's kind of funny because, you know, you're imagining like this super like dramatic, like she's over here swimming like a pro, but she was probably fucking doing the doggy paddle like, I'm coming, bitch.
Yeah, because she can't swim.
She didn't know anything. But it was a really dramatic moment.
She was raised in the desert, not in the ocean. She doesn't know how to swim.
Yeah, but she does get stuck between like a bunch of metal. And that's when Leah goes to talk to Aaron and is like, hey, your wife, she's about to fucking die.
She's about to drown. So save her, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. And he does end up going and throwing himself into where she's at to try to get her out. And
which was very dangerous. And she was like, like, I don't want you to risk your life. Like, the Kanye needs their king. And he was like, but they need their queen too. Down.
It's so sad.
Yeah, because she dies. R.I.P.
Yeah. Oh my God. I forgot. She dies. She drowned.
Yeah.
Oops.
Anyway, imagine we ended it there. We just gaslight everyone.
Thank you for listening to our episode.
Can you imagine if we ever lied about the summer? That is so chaotic. She really did drown though, but she does eventually wake up.
Yeah, and it's because while her body was dying, she does end up hearing Aaron say like, oh, you need to fight. And that's what causes her to wake up.
Yeah.
It's so sweet too, because when she wakes up, it's like, oh my God, this is the first damn time you ever fucking listen to me.
And she's like, don't get used to it.
Yeah.
They were really cute together. I really liked how there were still moments, even when he was mad at her, that they would still have like their normal banter.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But at the end of the book, he basically says that in the first book, they had mentioned it too. But he's like, don't you remember that we said in Ithacania, when we have a traitor, we'll throw them into the ocean. And they basically have to swim back to shore. And if they can make it without getting killed by a shark, then it means that they weren't a traitor. And when you were in the ocean and all those hundreds of sharks were around you.
Thousands. Millions.
Thousands. Who counted? 703. Me. But they basically created a path for her and she made it back. And because of that, the people of Ithacania, because a lot of people saw, they were like,
so they were witness.
That ain't no damn traitor. That ain't no damn traitor. That's the queen of fucking Ithacania, bitch.
I mean, she still betrayed you, but whatever.
No. Water under the bridge. So he's basically like, you know, they're willing to give you another try if you're willing to stay. And she's like, let me think about it. Just kidding. Yes.
Wait, babe, we have to have a wedding again.
Babe. Oh my God.
And she's really injured, but he's about to go have a meeting with, you know, his people. And she's like, fucking drags herself out of bed and she's like, no, I promised that I would be there with you through everything. And so she's like, I'm gonna be there, even though she's like fucking dying. Not really, she's just tired.
Yeah, but that's how the book ends. I think the last line is if any of our enemies dare come for our kingdom, we will bring them to their knees.
Okay, now the end. Feel like Danielle L. Jensen. Danny, can I call you Danny?
Danny?
I feel like Danny. I feel like she's really good at dialogue.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I fucking love her writing.
Me too. I feel like it's so easy to consume. Like I can fucking picture everything that's happening.
And it's sad. I don't know. The way that she mentions things, it makes things so bittersweet. Like when they mention Serena and the husband, the way that they mention their relationship is that they live in a state of stasis, which means it's just kind of themselves. And I'm like, fuck, why'd you gotta say it like that, Danny?
I feel like she's really good at writing angst. You know what I mean? I don't know. Angst, but not like severe angst. It's like...
Who hurt you, Danny?
Me. I don't know. Like she's really good at invoking emotions in me, at least.
Do you know if this was her first book?
I don't know. Let's find out. So Dark Shores came out 2019. She has the Songbird trilogy, which I think the first one came out 2014.
She has so much. Dude, did you... Oh my God. I'm on her Goodreads and the Bridge Kingdom 5 and 6 are on her thing, but they remain untitled. But that means that she is going to be writing these for a while.
I think that's the Anna one. But I think she's doing duologies based on different couples. That's my assumption anyway. I could be wrong.
Damn, though. You go, Danny J.
You go, Danny. But yeah, I felt like Cheli and I could not wait after reading the first one to talk about the second one because we didn't have plans to talk about this one. But
I don't want to say what we were going to talk about.
No,
but it's funny because it was nothing against that, but it was a really long book, and we've been on a time crunch because we're kind of just like reading and then automatically filming the episode. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because it was long and we chose to read a book that was just as long.
No.
To replace it.
No.
It was like 100 pages less.
No, the other one was way longer.
Was it?
Yeah.
Dude, it felt like it was funny to me because this one felt just as long as like everything else that we've been reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think
I'm glad we went with this though.
I think we wanted to do a shorter one, but then I was like, we can also talk about the Bridge Kingdom #2.
It's funny because we were so indecisive, but as soon as you said that, I was like, bitch, I'm in.
You're like
so down.
You're like, I already have it open.
I think this is the first series. No, just kidding. This is the second series that we've done on our podcast where after we read the first book, I'm like, I need to fucking finish this series. Because the only time that's ever happened was when we read Shadow and Bone.
Yeah.
And that was our first episode. So it's funny to think that after 75 episodes, we're here. What are your overall thoughts?
Oh my God, dude. My overall thoughts? Where do I start? I feel like this book was such a fucking journey. It was killing me. Like the angst was killing me so much that I couldn't put it down. I needed to get to that point. I was waiting on the 80% mark again because I think that was the same way last time.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, get there, get somewhere, please. Oh no, last time was like 60. Was it 70? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But I really loved RN. I love him so much.
I know you do.
He means everything to me. But I also felt really bad for Laura. I liked that she was down to do anything that it took to redeem herself because she did feel genuinely guilty for her betrayal. I liked the conflict, between both of the characters. Like even like the inner conflict with Aaron loving her but not being able to love her freely because of the betrayal and because of how his kingdom would feel if he, just went back with her. I just liked how the story played out. I do still wish that the moment of her killing her dad was a little different. I don't know. I kind of wanted it to be more dramatic, but it was still fine. I just feel like it happened very quickly. But it doesn't deter from my love for this book. I feel like this duology, only because I haven't read the others, is I would say like one of my favorites. I fucking love everything about it. I still prefer the first one though, but I still would give this one a high rating. I think I would give it a 4.75 though, not a 5. Because you can do that on Storygraph. I feel like I have to say it every time. Please, guys, download Storygraph.
I love that you do. Oh my God. Dude, that's basically a 5.
Basically, I mean, on Goodreads, it would be a 5, but yeah.
Damn. I'm not surprised. I knew you would love this book.
Thanks.
And I mean, I also loved this book.
I mean, you stayed up till like 4 a.m, girl. I hope you love this book.
And it's so funny because I was so fucking tired, but I was like, I need to finish it. Because if I felt like if I had put it down, it would have taken me forever to finish it.
Really? It's so funny because I think we had gotten off the phone that night and you were like, I'm only going to read for like an hour or something. And you finished it that night.
Yep.
Love that.
It hurt me physically.
No,
but
literally.
I also love both of our characters. I love Aaron so much. He's so good.
He's
and honestly, I love seeing him so like act so carefree that I kind of wish there had been more moments where they were in disguise. Because I love seeing how strategic he is, but also like how fucking dumb he is. But I just the only issue that I had with this story was because Bridge Kingdom ended with that whole point of her being like, I'm gonna go fucking find my sisters and we're gonna save him. I wish that had been such a bigger thing in this story. Like if you had played it up so much, then why weren't the sisters a bigger thing in this story? Yeah, because
they weren't there at the end.
And I understand that Aaron and Lara had to do this quest on their own. Like, okay, that's fine with me. But also, they were royalty, and you would expect there to be others going with them. You know? Like, yeah. It threw me off that they had to go by themselves. And I don't know. It was just a lot of things that I wish they would have added. But I still did love the story. I don't know. If I had to give this a rating, I think I would give it either like a 4 or like a 3.75.
Oh, okay.
Because I did really like it, and I do want to give it'd be closer to a 4. But I wish they had added more of what they had promised.
Like with the sisters. No, I mean, I understand that. I feel like when you brought it up near the beginning of this episode, I didn't realize that that's something that I also wanted, because I thought we were going to see like almost like another example of how Laura was raised, and it would have been shown through her sisters.
Yep. But it wasn't.
No.
And I do want to say too, something that kind of gave me the ick a little bit.
What?
When you finished reading this story, did you happen to read the little summary or synopsis for the third book?
No, I didn't. Why? I mean, I know that it's for her brother, but I didn't read it.
Well, she's in it too, but it basically says that they're going to resume ruling alongside each other, and her only certainty in like everything that happens in the third book is the bond between them, but long overdue conversations will put the strength of their marriage to the test. They must decide what their future will hold, all while dark clouds gather in the south. A storm that no nation can maintain, not even the Bridge Kingdom will escape unscathed. And it like low-key made me kind of like, oh, why do you guys have to hurt their marriage? Like, can't you just let them be strong enough to stay together but still go through hardships? Like, I can't do another slow burn. I can't.
I feel like I don't know if I can do another slow burn either. But I mean,
it ended so strong that I'm like, can I just pretend that this is where
she never did the betrayal?
No, like I'm okay with the second book. I love the way it ended. That fucking shark thing, I was fucking down for that shit. Yeah. I love that. I just don't want to go through them falling apart again just to be like, you're my queen and you're my king. Like, I don't fucking, no, I can't do that.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, like, he's still getting to know her, like the real her.
I guess.
You don't have to read it. I'll read it.
I'll read it.
Oh.
I still love the story. Like overall, this story's still a 5 in my heart. It's just, there's
A low
just some
5.
stuff.
A low,
No, it's still...
a low enough 5 that it's a 3.75.
That's why I was kind of hesitant, because I feel like you were gonna be like, you love it, really? 3.75.
I'm used to you. You're just weird with your ratings.
Sorry. I'm still gonna go back and love the story, but
it's still 3.75 though. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, which you can do on Storygraph, by the way.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Please use Storygraph and add me.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
I feel like we've aged.
We have. We need yes, this was a long conversation. We need to get to the end now. Okay, we're done. That was fun.
Thank you everyone who is listening to us in podcast form, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or anywhere you get your podcasts on. Thank you. If you can leave a review and also a rating of 5 stars, that helps a lot. If you can please tell your friends, families, loved ones, everyone about us, that also helps, because the best type of exposure is through word of mouth. Thank you for everyone who has been leaving ratings, because that does make a big difference for us.
Yeah, and it's really nice, and I feel like it definitely motivates us to keep posting, especially now that we're doing twice a week.
Oh, yeah. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, even though we're just audio form for now, thank you so much. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, and please tell us how you felt about these books, or if you're now interested in reading these books after hearing us talk about it. If you can hit that notification bell, just so you know when we post. We are trying to catch up on YouTube, but on podcast form, we post every Tuesday and Thursday. Usually at the end of our episodes, we roll a dice, and if the dice lands on an even number, we read a positive review, either off of Goodreads or Storygraph. Mm-hmm. If it lands on an odd number, we read a negative review. And we leave the review in the air. We don't mention anything. We're not connected to the review. It's just the review. We're not
endorsing it or anything, okay? So don't ask me about it.
So Yajaira, why don't you roll your digital dice and tell me what you get?
I'm going to click on my app. Okay, I got a 2.
That is a positive review. I'm going to read it off of Storygraph. This review comes from Fake Folk Reads on Storygraph, who gave it a 5 out of 5 and said, I will still throw all the stars for this amazing story. I love the new characters we are introduced to, and I loved seeing more of this wonderful world. Lara is such a wonderful, brave character. The ending felt a bit rushed and abrupt, but I still thoroughly enjoyed every moment of this story. I listened to this on Audible and absolutely adored it.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys on Thursday. Bye.
Oh my God. I have to stretch every fucking bone in my body, dude.
No, dude, same. I feel like I'm getting old. Do you hear that pop?
Dude, whoa.
ASMR.
Kind of impressive. I know. Hello, welcome to...
Sorry, that was just my knees.
Sorry, I turned to the left. It's just my neck.
My whole neck just fucking popped.